Hi, I'm Bob Dixon. Welcome to the Leader's Edge Hot Takes edition of the Five Eagles Insight Podcast. For over 3 decades, I served in the military as an engineer and as a strategist, and I learned a few things about leadership. We know that it goes beyond theory. It's about real-world application. So in this series, sponsored by Five Eagles Leadership, we feature industry leaders and share their leadership journeys with you. My mission's simple. It's to help you become the best leader you can be. Now, if that sounds like something you're interested in, make sure you hit the subscribe button so you never miss an episode. If you'd like to be considered as a guest in upcoming episodes, please go to 5eaglesleadership.com/interview and apply today. Now, let's get started.
Welcome back to the Leader's Edge podcast. I'm Marisa McClure, and joining me today is Nicole Craveiro from Smithtown, New York. Nicole is the CEO of Craveiro. Welcome, Nicole.
Thank you so much, Marisa.
All right, let's dive right into some questions because I'm excited to hear about your business. So give us a little bit of an overview of what your business does and why you got into it.
Sure. So my business, Craveiro, is a small HR consulting firm. We are helping employers, say we, like just me though. We help employers manage their HR and their compliance challenges. A lot of employers don't really, they're good at what they do, which is completely different from HR, and they're growing, so they need help kind of figuring the way forward.
Yeah, I would guess a lot of small businesses don't have an internal or an organic HR capacity, so they would need assistance in that way.
Right. So a lot of my employers that I work with, they're pretty small. I don't have any employers that have over 50 employees.
Okay. Yeah, great. So how did you get into this work?
So that's a little bit of a longer story.
Okay.
So I started back in 2016 working for an accounting firm. That was a startup. I was their 5th employee. I was hired as a firm administrator, and that was after, several years in the administrative accounting space, and they tripled their staff in the first year. So naturally, being the only person that wasn't an accountant or a bookkeeper, the HR responsibilities kind of fell onto me. It turned out, though, that I loved it way better than collating tax returns. So I went back to school, got my master's degree in HR, got my certifications, and then from there, I moved on to PEO. Are you familiar with what that is?
Mm-mm.
So a PEO is a benefits and payroll provider.
Okay.
That a smaller employer wouldn't have access to big benefit rates. And so they come out from under their EIN and go under the PEO's EIN to get better benefits, better benefit rates, I should say. So I started working as an HR business partner for a PEO. And that's where I kind of got my toes wet in the consulting piece of it.
Yeah.
I was working with 75 different employers and 2,000 employees.
Wow.
And this was through COVID, so that was interesting.
Yeah.
And then I moved on from there and went into a internal HR management position, actually 2. They did not work out for one reason or another.
Mm-hmm.
And I ended up saying, you know what, let's start Craveiro and try to kind of better the workplaces that I'm working with.
Yeah, I love that. That's great. It's a worthy cause for sure.
Yeah.
Okay. What would you say is the biggest problem in your industry, and how are you solving that for yourself or for your clients?
So I think the biggest problem is that there are, well, on the employer side, there is a plethora of rules that you have to keep up with. And if you have, as most people do now, a remote workforce in different states, you now not only have to know the rules for the states that you're in, you have to know the rules for all the states in which your employees sit. So, and it's not like, you have to register as an employer in all these states, but it's not like they send you anything that says, oh, hey, we're changing this law. Hey, this is important to you. So that's kind of like where I come in.
Okay.
And make that easier for them. Like, I'm thinking about it so that they don't have to. And if something comes up that pertains to them, we work through it together.
Gotcha. Yeah, that would be a lot to keep up with, especially if you have a larger workforce, but they are distributed around the country. That makes sense.
Right.
Yeah, and I'm sure, especially post-COVID, there are a lot more remote workers than I work from home now. And so they need that type of support. That's great. So who is your ideal client and what are some of the outcomes they can expect from working with you?
So my ideal client is an employer that is under 50 employees. They can be located anywhere in the U.S. Even though I'm based in New York, and that's where the majority of my clients are because that's where I do my networking, I'm able to provide service nationwide. I've actually even worked with some clients that are over in the UK with smaller branches in the US, and for them it's a huge help because the rules are completely different.
I'm sure.
So the outcome that they can expect when they work with me really depends on what the client needs. So I offer 4 different levels of service currently. The first one is an advisory level where essentially I'm keeping them compliant, I'm keeping their policies and procedures up to date, and they have someone that they know and they trust that they can call when they have questions, which is, fairly frequently when you're an employer. And then my second level is an administrative level, so that's where I get a little more hands-on, where I'll start creating custom documents, notices, I'll start liaisoning with vendors, I'll get involved with their HRIS system, managing that. Sometimes it's payroll. And then there is the next level is the people package. So that is where I now become a resource to employees as well.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So it's not just an employer resource, it then becomes an employee resource where they can reach out to me if they have any questions. I help them, with their open enrollment period. I onboard them, I offboard them, I'll terminate if I have to. And then the last one is what I call an HR presence package. So that's when I'm coming out from under my brand and going under the client's brand. So I'll monitor a dedicated email address. I'll be in their Slack channels, their Teams channels. I'll go to their holiday parties, team events. I'll go to a holiday party no matter what level they're on. But I'll fly across the country and not charge extra for it at that level.
There you go.
And then I also have just launched a software only. I call it Craveiro. It is the same tool that I use to service my clients and that my retainer clients have access to, and I'm making it available for like the general public that may not necessarily want to be on a retainer, but want access to vetted, trusted tools that would give them what they need to administer HR. Because a lot of times before someone hires someone like me, they have a bookkeeper or an office manager, kind of in the same position where I was, but they're not trained to handle the kind of situations that, we come across every day.
Right. And it can be tricky,
Yeah.
So, I get that. I was in the military, but having been a commanding officer a couple of different times, you're sort of the CEO of your own little organization. And I relied very heavily on my HR support. And sometimes, you have it internally to your organization, and sometimes you have to go to kind of a higher level organization that you kind of fall under to get that support. But it was definitely something that I needed on a regular basis. That and legal, HR and legal. And a lot of times it was associated with each other. So, yeah, I get that. So what would you say makes you unique in how you provide for your clients?
I have a very no nonsense approach, and not that I'm like the stereotypical HR person. My tagline on LinkedIn is "Not your father's HR."
I love that, by the way. Yeah.
Thanks. So my approach is very straightforward. I am not going to beat around the bush with you. I'm going to tell you exactly how it is. I'm not going to sugarcoat things. And you know what? Some clients don't like that. And that's okay. They're not the clients for me.
Right. I'm the same way. I'm very much a believer in a direct approach. And some people, yes, find that maybe a little bit aggressive or whatever it is. But I think it's better in the long run to just get right to the point and not do the sugarcoating, right?
Right.
But I hear what you're saying, and there are some people that might kind of need that. I could do the compliment sandwich if I have to, if I know the person, and that's kind of what they need. I would much rather just get to the meat of it, right? And just
Right.
get to the issue. Yeah, exactly.
And I think there's another piece of that it's important for me is that I came from a toxic working environment, and while I am hired by employers, I do look out for the best interest of employees because ultimately they wouldn't be an employer without employees. So if it is beneficial for both parties, why not make it a happy, healthy working environment in the process?
Yeah, absolutely. Because they put a lot of time and training into their employees. So, they want to retain those employees.
Cost of turnover is high.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Okay, great. Where do you see your industry going in the next 5 to 10 years, and how are you staying on top of that?
Ooh, well, the industry, I think COVID had a lot to do with this.
Yeah, huge impact.
Yeah, we have become much more than like the rule enforcers and the paper pushers that HR used to be. I mean, not all of us, but it is as a whole, the industry has evolved, where we're looked at more as like a strategic partner to the organization. I think employers now have a much greater appreciation for what we're doing, and I think now they're much more willing to invest in it. And like I said, things are constantly changing every day. We're human too. We can't possibly keep up with it all. But building your network, I mean, HR, other HR people. I'm a co-chair for my local industrial association's HR committee. And while I'm not going to get direct business from that committee because, it's HR people and they are doing pretty much similar things to what I'm doing.
Sure.
Having that group of people that I could reach out to, especially as a solo entrepreneur, I don't have all the answers. I have a network of other people in my industry that I could reach out to and say, hey, I have this situation going on. This is what I think about it, but I'm not 100% sure. What do you think? Like, that's so valuable in keeping, and of course, education, going to those conferences. I have a conference that I go to every year in Atlanta. It's called Unplug HR. And it's, again, very much so people in my industry is the main attendance base. But the whole premise of it is to just unplug for 2 days and focus on, trending issues in our industry and how we can make our industry better. And, like I said, there's always going to be some bad apples, but when we come together and we learn about these things and we start thinking about these issues critically, we now get to leave after our week, and we get to go bring this back to our workplaces, or in my case, I can count on 2 hands now how many workplaces I can bring this information to.
Yeah. Well, and I think especially like you mentioned, being kind of solo, running your own business, having that network that you can collaborate with, and just to remind yourself that you're not alone and to know that other people are facing some of the same challenges. I think that's really helpful in whatever industry you work in to have those peers.
that's like a double-edged thing for me, because not only do I need my HR industry, like I also need um, my business owner peers,
Right.
because
Yeah.
I'm doing both. I'm new HR. I'm kind of figuring out this business ownership thing as I go along. But one of the best things that I did pretty much as soon as I registered as a business was join a local networking group that's exclusive for business owners. It's called Huga. And they have been like the most invaluable resource. They're just so amazing, and help you grow. They genuinely just want to see you grow. It's not like
Yeah.
any type of scorekeeping system or anything like
Right.
that.
Not a competitive
Exactly.
relationship, but more of a supportive one.
Exactly. We just want to build each other up and watch our businesses succeed together. So it's an amazing thing to be a part of.
Yeah, that's great that you have that. So important. Yeah, awesome. So a little bit more of a personal question now. What would you say is the biggest challenge? And sometimes I say failure, but I don't love that word. But what's the biggest challenge that you've faced thus far, and how has that helped shape how you do business?
So I think that the biggest challenge, and I think everybody has this challenge in some way, is balancing being a business owner, being an HR professional, and being a person at my home and being there for my family. My mom, when I started my business, she unfortunately attempted suicide. And I had to kind of figure out how I was going to navigate caring for her and also running a successful business and not losing my home. She lives with us now, so things are going really great there. But then there's also like my husband. He had been with his company for gosh 17, 18 years, and he got hurt last year, and he's been out ever since then. So it's we're kind of navigating how supporting the household, and then also navigating how we're going to move forward from here. So it's just a lot. But like I said, having the community that I have built, I know that I have the resources where eventually it's going to work itself out.
Well, it's good that you have support, because those are all, very challenging situations, caring for our parent, dealing with illness, injury, all of those things. That's a lot for anyone to deal with, especially
Yeah.
when you're trying to, like you said, run your own business and keep up with a lot of clients. And
I broke my ankle back in, I think it was 2023, in 3 places, had a major surgery. It was like 14 screws and 2 plates. And
wow.
yeah, and I'm doing payroll from my hospital bed, because if I'm not doing it, no one is, and I actually got lucky where I thought like the business was going to slow down, but it actually grew during that time because I had nothing else to do. I was stuck in bed for 4 months.
Yeah, I guess so.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. So, Nicole, what is your next area of growth, whether it's for you or for your business?
So my business just became licensed to broker benefits. So that's going to be a value-added service that Craveiro can now provide. Keep growing my software Cravewave and getting the word out on that to help as many employers as I possibly can within my capacity, and also to obviously grow the team. I can't keep doing this by myself forever.
Well, as things get bigger and scale up, you've got to bring in some help. Yeah.
Yeah, so my main focus is on the compliance piece of that. So I ideally would kind of like to bring in a team of specialists in other areas. So like a payroll specialist, a benefits specialist, those types of professionals, maybe a recruiter in-house, so that I can service my clients completely internally. And then, of course, I have my partners in the industry as well, who I love working with. So I utilize them wherever possible.
Sounds great.
No.
Okay, so last question is, how can folks contact you? How can they learn more about your business and what services you provide? Maybe they want to work with you. How can they find out more?
They can go to my website, www.cravehro.com. There is ways to contact me through there. Of course, I love connecting on LinkedIn,
Okay.
building my network there. So they can feel free to reach out. And I'm happy to connect and talk more.
All right, sounds great. Well, thanks so much for joining me today. I've really enjoyed learning more about your business and your journey. And best of luck to you as you move
Thank you so
forward.
much. Thank you.
Hey, thanks for tuning in to the Leader's Edge Hot Take Series. I hope you found today's insight meaningful, valuable, and that you're ready to put them into action. Now, if you enjoyed the episode and want to keep improving your leaderships, be sure to subscribe so you don't miss out on any future episodes. I post new content every week, packed with strategies, tips, and real-life examples to help you lead with impact. And remember, great leadership isn't just about guiding others, it's about continuously growing yourself. If you'd like to be considered as a guest for upcoming episodes, please go to 5eaglesleadership.com/interview to apply today. Keep pushing, keep learning, and I'll see you in the next episode. Be awesome.